Yo, buenos dias, ¿qué pasó, you guys? John's Moto Garage. Welcome back. It's been a long time. Today, we're going to be taking the Sporty out, if I can get it out, and if it fires up. And I'm going to be having just a little chat, let's talk about life and all that good stuff. I should fire this thing up and see if we can run it around the block. Let's try that real quick. Well, it's a little update. Obviously, haven't sold the Dyna, haven't sold the Sportster, haven't sold half the bikes. We got a new bike video coming soon on that one. So where are we at? But yeah, I wanted to just get out and ride a little bit. Beautiful weather out, and have a little chat about a topic that's still somewhat stigmatized, but I think you guys will be up to speed. Shouldn't have an issue discussing this. I want to talk a little bit about mental health, especially as it pertains to my experience, my journey with the whole mental health side of things, both good and bad. I think this is something that we all experience. Well, yeah, we do. It's a human experience, you know what I mean? So I'll talk a little bit about that. The D word, depression, motorcycles, and just life in general. Alright, you guys, what do you say we fire up the Dyna? See if this guy will fire up. Run it around the block real quick. I think it's about a 50-50 shot. It has been a minute. And that is a negativo. Yeah, the battery's got to be dead. Maybe not. Maybe not, bro. Did we speak too soon? It's probably about dead. Yeah, she's about... Dang, let it sit for too long. Yeah. Alright. Not super surprised. I need to throw this thing on the charger. We will do that when we get back. And we'll go with plan A. We'll grab the Sportster. Which this thing has been hanging out on the Trickle Charger. Shout out to Trickle Chargers. I'm not sponsored by them. So years ago, back in 2021, when I was out traveling for work, if those have been following, for those who've been following the channel for a while, I actually did a video. I filmed a video talking about depression, because at the time I was going through a serious bout, self-diagnosed, of course, but a pretty bad episode of depression. So much so that I was even dealing with what, at the time I didn't know what it was, but I've since learned it's called passive ideation of unaliving. In other words, you don't have like an active plan. You wouldn't do something yourself to unalive yourself. That's the word we use to not get kicked off the YouTube. But just almost like having those ideations of wishing that something would happen just because you're no longer stoked, or just you don't want to really exist anymore. And I remember at the time I felt so guilty and terrible about it, because I knew on paper I really had nothing to not be stoked on, nothing to not be excited about as far as life. And yet at that time I was really just struggling to find joy in anything. Like nothing brought joy. I got back into motorcycles, or I was trying to. Did nothing for me. I was at the time getting into mountain biking, and was doing nothing for me. So I was checking all the boxes as far as the fitness. I was getting outside, I was working, I was being productive, and I had meaningful connections, interacting with people, all that stuff. And yet it was doing nothing for me. And so I actually filmed a video, edited it, and then I just couldn't bring myself to post it. Maybe I should have. I don't know. It's like a sensitive, vulnerable, personal topic, right? And we don't always want to share that kind of stuff. I feel like I'm finally at a place now where I'm far past it, And so that's why I'm like, I think I know that I'm not the only one who deals with this kind of a thing. And so let's chat about it a little bit. Alright, hopefully this thing will fire up, since the dyno wouldn't. Okay. There we go. Alright, man. It's like we were never gone. And just like that, you guys, we're back at it. Alright, so what were we talking about? Yeah, mental health. So I was at a pretty low point, but I called myself a functional depressed person because on the outside you probably would have had no idea. I was still going about business as usual, but on the inside it was so bizarre. Like, so I was in Texas working, and I was working 6 days a week. I got in really bad shape, but started running. This was back in 2021 again. Anyway, so I started running, and about a month into it, I was getting back into shape, feeling better, still working way too much. I'm sure that had something to do with it. But I remember just closing my eyes and thinking, man, I could legit just close my eyes, never wake up again, and be totally fine with it. And so as a parent with children and married with Jackie, I definitely felt guilty about even having that thought cross my mind, but that was the reality of the situation. And then I also feel like an idiot because here I am sitting with all these luxuries, spoiled, really nothing to complain about. I'm healthy, I'm working, I'm employed, I've got a healthy family, I've got a wife, like I got nothing to complain about. And so it was baffling me as to how was it that I could be feeling so empty and so numb and just not wanting to exist anymore. Now, I like to talk to a lot of people. Well, I talk to people, like all of us do, right? And I like to get to know people. And in talking to people, I've come to learn this isn't something that's unique to me. I've met a lot of people who deal with this, many on a much more severe, extreme level. And I think part of the reason why now I feel okay broaching the topic and doing a video about this is because I don't know exactly how I did it, but I was able to get through that pretty terrible phase. And so I guess the message for me is there is light at the end of the tunnel if you just keep going, you know what I mean? Just keep working at it. Now, I'm no expert, but at least in my case, I was able to figure it out. Obviously, we are not all the same. Some people may need therapy. Some people may need to be treated with certain medication. For some people, it may be lifestyle changes. It may be getting rid of certain people, or I should say, let me rephrase that. Maybe cutting certain people out of your life. It may be getting active again. It may be getting a new job. I don't know what the answer is for everybody. It's going to vary by individual, but the takeaway for me is I just kept going with it because what option do we have? But now fast forward a couple years and I am in a way better place mentally. And it's taken work, it's taken personal work, it's taken me having to realize where I can focus on my relationship with Jackie, where it obviously took a toll on our relationship. Jackie has dealt with her own stuff, and I wasn't always there supportive the way I should have been. And so life is always going to be a journey where we're learning and growing and making mistakes and learning from those mistakes and hopefully getting better. That's just the name of the game, right? But yeah, there's hopefully for most of us there's light at the end of the tunnel. And all I could say is I just kept moving ahead, as terrible as some days were, and as much some days as I just didn't want to get up and do anything, I just kept going with it. But it's kind of scary looking back and realizing how dark a place I was in, and realizing that my circumstances weren't really any different than they are today. I mean, if anything, they were arguably slightly better. I'm dealing with maybe a little bit more stress today, more on my plate today than I was even back then. And maybe part of that journey also was learning how to kind of let go of certain things that I don't have control over, always act like I'm like a pretty easygoing dude, you know, but let's face it, man, life can be tough sometimes. Parenting can be tough, relationships can be tough, work can be tough, things can get overwhelming, and it's totally normal. Nothing wrong with that. You guys remember this old spot? Man, I haven't ridden a motorcycle in forever. I feel like I can't even ride anymore. Feel very awkward on the bike, that is for sure. Brakes working all right. Man, these bars are way too tall. Yep. All right, hold on. What's going on? Holy crap. All right, it has been too long. I can officially say it's been too long. I just about flipped this thing. It's like, bro, what are we doing, dog? Woo! That was sketchy. Very sketchy, John. Let's not do that again. A little more control. A little more control. Can we ease into it? Let me tell you this, man. Doing a wheelie on a Harley Davidson is not the same as jumping on a bicycle. You know, they say it's like riding a bike. This is not like riding a bike, bro. Use it or lose it, unless you're a pro, and I'm not a pro. Woo! All right, you guys. Should we push our luck? I think we'll call it good at that. Man. I'll tell you though, this Harley rips, dude. This thing, it definitely rips. What a cool bike. Whew. Got my heart racing there. Thing's wild, bro. Wild. Anyway, I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer around the holidays, but I do think this is it's a topic that probably touches close to home for a lot of people. There's still that stigma around it. I think a lot of people just don't like to talk about it, or don't like to admit that it's something they deal with. And so maybe in part by me sharing my experience, others can be like, oh, you know what, I'm not the only one. And you're definitely not the only one. And it's not to dismiss, but it's to say you're not alone, you know what I mean? This thing's a rocket, man. What a cool bike. Anyway, what have all you guys been up to, man? How's everybody been? Hopefully you guys have been good. I've been so disconnected from the motos, like it's been too long. I didn't realize this, but Kawasaki's coming out with a new little motorcycle. There's just all kinds of stuff going on. I just have not been a part of it. Ooh, can't see, blind. That was dangerous. And I know you guys are sick of hearing it by now, but yes, I have still been mountain biking. And remember John's Stunt Garage, that old channel that I never really did anything with? Well, I'm launching it as my new mountain bike channel. So if you're interested in the mountain bike stuff, you can jump over there and check it out, see what I've been up to on the mountain bike. I haven't come up with a channel name there yet, but we'll be getting to it. We will be getting to it. Feels nice getting back out on a motorcycle here. So I think my game plan still is going to be to sell the bikes that I have. And gotta kind of thread the needle here. Woo! Sell the bikes that I've got and get something like a newer supermoto, something solid. I really like the supermotos, and you know, not riding as much as I used to, I think that makes the most sense for me. Still have something where I can jump on, you know, stay in touch, stay in tune with my inner wannabe hooligan. Still rip the wheelies, all that good stuff. So I think that's going to be the game plan. But I gotta say, man, it is fun getting on a motorcycle. It's just tough as I get older, trying to spread my time between, you know, all these interests and hobbies, because there's just too many of them. I need to be careful, man. I'm gonna get myself into trouble out here. That's a nice thing about mountain biking, I have to admit. Whenever I go out riding, the last thing on my mind is, all right, make sure I don't get pulled over by a cop. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of that danger side to it, you know, when I'm out riding, but I feel like I mitigate the risk pretty well. Anyway, man, this has been good, man. This has been very cathartic. Thank you guys for listening, and hopefully if there's something that you guys are dealing with, hopefully you can just keep working through it, figure out something that makes life, you know, keeps you stoked on life. And have fun out there, you know, stay out of trouble. I guess that's all I can say. Alright, we'll catch you on the next one. Like, subscribe, and hasta luego. Nos vemos.